everyone, this is Vicky Lee Fay, and welcome to Heroes in the Halfcast, your show for reviews and news on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And with me today
is Dolofilgray, the Green Ninja. You may also know me from my Team NT 2012 reviews on YouTube.
Hey guys, this is Mark Rodriguez. I guess I'm the Orange Ninja, and I have my own YouTube channel here called Video Game Masters 09, so check it out.
Hey, it's Paige Mischief. I am the Pink Castrated Ninja. Meow. I'm a co-author on the blog of Epic Randomness. Plug.
how were you introduced to the various incarnations of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Starting with you, Don.
For me, it started way back when I was really young. My dad bought my sister and I a video cassette. There's a video cassette of the 87 Turtle. I think there were a couple of movies on that particular tape. All I remember was A, the Turtles going back to the dinosaur age, and B, the Turtles rushing to save April from the Rat King. In any case, it was a long time ago, so my memory's a little foggy, and unfortunately those are my only memories concerning the 87 Turtles. I'm much more familiar with the 2003 show, which I watched when I was a preteen and ended up actually completely loving the show. A bit of a funny story, though, is that the first episode I watched from the 2003 show was Insane in the Membrane when I was around 8, which is a very, very creepy show to start watching. So
Tell me about it.
yeah, as Stockman's body just kind of falls apart and he hammers his wrist back to. Oh yeah, no, that wasn't particularly fun for me when I was 8.
And he was hallucinating about his mother, yes.
Yeah, it was a little too deep and a little too intense. But luckily, the next episode I ended up watching from the show was way milder. But yeah, as I said, I ended up loving the 2003 show, and now watching the 2012 show, which has a lot of cool quirks as well. What about you, Mark and Paige? How did you guys get introduced to the Turtles?
Well, for me, it went way back because I basically started watching it when it first hit the TV back then, the first 80s cartoon. If you guys remember, it was first like a 5-episode, kind of limited, quote unquote, one-time deal. You know, you miss it, it's over. And it was just so cool seeing, you never ever heard of human-sized turtles that talk and joke, fight martial arts, and fight against robots and mutant animals. It was just so weird and different. And then, like, they all had their different colors, their different names. They had different weapons. I'm trying to remember which weapon went with which turtle and everything. It was so cool. It was such a shame. It was just that one-time thing. Then like a year or half a year later, they rerun it, and then they started announcing that we're going to start airing new episodes every Sunday morning. We're like, woohoo! And later on, it was like, now it's going to be a weekly series. It's like, damn, so it was just awesome. That whole era. But then like the Konami 4-player beat 'em up game, and then the live-action movies. I mean, it was like the biggest rush as a kid to see like quote unquote real live turtles kicking ass in the movies and stuff like that. And so I was do it mostly to the end. It's just I don't know about Red Sky because I don't know when or where it aired it. That I never got to see it on TV. And then of course fast forward a bit, I watched a bit of the 2003 series here and there, and of course you've seen the 2007 CGI movie. But of course now I'm back into Turtles in the big way thanks to the new IDW comics that came out a year before, and this new Turtles series starring recently in 2012 Nickelodeon version, which is so epic.
Honestly, I never really watched the series. Never watched the Turtles when I grew up. The only interaction I ever had with the Turtles was because of my big brother. He used to watch the series when he was younger, and in one of my pictures I had proof that I dressed up like grass when I was little. The major reason why I got to the Turtles because of Mark. He was the one that actually introduced me to the Turtles. Whenever the 2012 series came out, he was like, "Oh my god, I gotta watch this. You should watch it too." I'm like, I don't really care to see it. But whenever we finally he moved over here to live with me, we started watching it every Saturday morning, and I started getting into the 2012 Turtles. cheese of a series. So that's my introduction to the turtles.
Well, I'm glad Mark ended up roping you in. It's definitely a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, made you part of the lair.
All right. I guess just out of curiosity, what's everyone's favorite turtle? Starting off with you, Vanka. Or did you get a chance to tell everyone how you were introduced to the turtles yet?
No, I didn't.
Okay, maybe we
Thank you
should.
for bringing that up.
Yeah, I should start with that first, Vanka.
Yeah, like Mark, I was introduced to the 1980s version, and, and I was really interested in it, and at the same time a little weirded out by it because of all the slapstick involved. But I gradually began to really love it, and I lost interest in it when it became the Red Sky series because, of course, it's like darkening up something that was already fine to begin with, and it just never really felt the same. So I stopped watching it after then, but I saw like all the three movies, and I was surprised that there was like an OVA series or an OVA Japanese anime that was released based on the 87 series, but believe me, if you thought the 2007 movie was bad, the anime, the two-part OVA really makes you want to pluck your eyes out with pins. It's that bad. I saw bits of the 2003 series at first, and I recently watched the whole thing, which I love quite well. And I also heard about the 2012 series, and I was kind of like, what did they do to Donnie? Like, at first, because of him having dyasthenia and being suddenly taller than everybody, and also being the doormat of the family. But I also gradually began to love that as well, like, especially like the little moments where he's concentrating and you see his tongue sticking out the side of his mouth.
Yeah, that does look so adorable.
Yeah, and like having him have a crush on April is also kind of cute.
Yeah, that seems to be at least in the 2003 show, it seemed that Donnie in particular had a crush on April, but I just wondering, was that this also the case in the 87 show?
Not particularly. She seemed to like all four of them evenly or something.
She was like kind of like April was kind of like a pseudo love interest in some cases for all the turtles, but most of the time she was more like a big sister figure and occasional mother figure. Like
you would occasionally like hug and kiss the turtles on the cheek or something after they rescue her, but it was never like one particular turtle, or it was just random. It wasn't. I don't know.
Like I think there was like one episode where April says like if Donatello's gone bad, then there really is no hope for this world.
That's interesting. But yeah, I was just kind of wondering, because it seems that it takes some what could have been from other shows and makes them a reality. To be more specific, with the 2012 show. But anyhow, Venka, back to what you were saying about how you were introduced to the turtles.
Yeah, like I originally heard about the 2012 series when I was like looking online at information on the Ninja Turtles, and I was like, what? There's a 2012 series? And then I watched the first episode on YouTube, and I'm like, oh wow, this is interesting. I gotta see more.
What about your favorite turtle?
My favorite turtle would definitely have to be Donatello because he's always been the sweetest one. And like I remember in the 87 series, it was more like they didn't really know what to do with him. So he's like, yeah, he's the smart guy. We might give him an episode or two occasionally, but really we don't have any idea what he does. And then in the 2003 series, he was just like this shy-hearted engineer who was making all this effective stuff, and especially with the security systems he has with the lair, he was a lot more confident in what he did, and the others had like a little more trust or a little more faith in his actions in that particular version. And with the 2012 version of Donatello, it's like an interesting blend of the 87 Donatello and the 2003 Donatello, where they know he's valuable, they know he has like some role to the team, but they aren't sure or they haven't really realized how valuable he is to the team because a lot of his inventions do end up backfiring. But given what he has to work with, he's lucky they work at all.
Mark, Paige, do you want to offer your favorite turtles?
Well, I guess my favorite turtle's always been Michelangelo. It's always the cooler and slightly sillier one and everything. I just always like the 80s version better because yeah, I don't know, I just like the surfer dude voice accent they gave him. It was always cool to listen to him talk and everything speak. And basically, I don't know, he basically became the voice of the turtles in that series because every time anyone would think back to the turtles or memories, their childhood memories, they would often mistake it and think that all of them were like pizza obsessed and all of them were like talking like surfers and saying Cowabunga when it was really just Michelangelo. But basically everything related to the turtles, what people would remember or stereotype them as, came from how Michelangelo was portrayed in that series. And I just always liked the 80s version better. 2003 was unfortunately too immature and bratty and in the later episodes, it just really looked like he was so annoying that no one really wanted him around. And
Yeah.
some cartoon, I did, I mean, I did like his character. The only thing I don't like is how they make him kind of dumb sometimes. I do understand. I mean, sometimes he is naive, or he's more trusting of people and things like that. I understand those situations, like when they thought he was dumb for hanging with Leatherhead. It was more like he actually saw there was goodness there and everything. But there are some times where he's just plain dumb, and there's no other way to cover that or excuse it by just saying, "Oh, he's a dumb one, so let's make him say the dumb jokes because kids think that dumb jokes are funny." So that's the kind of thing I only didn't like about him. I wish he was more naive and less dumb. But the one thing that Michelangelo has in common with all his different versions, no matter which one, is he was always the most human of the turtles because I guess Leo always wanted to focus and just be a ninja master. Raphael's always like emo or by himself or whatever. Donatello will devote himself to science. So Mikey was the one that kind of ignored the fact that he was a mutant turtle and just wanted to go out there and hang out and party with the humans. Like everyone else understood their role, like they have to be solitary or we'll be ninjas or we're freaks of nature, we must be outcasts. But Mikey was like, we're being turtles, so what? Let's cookie! And all that. So that was always the character trait I like of him that at least that maintains the same no matter which version of it we have of him.
Too true. He's always been like the one who definitely wants to see beyond what they have in life.
Yeah, I'd say that he's got the most heart out of the four, no matter what
And,
incarnation.
and speaks their good intentions.
Yeah, exactly. Paige, do you have a favorite turtle?
I can't compare the different versions, but if I had to choose out of all the turtles, I would choose Donnie. He's he's caring. I love the cutesy fantasy relationship he thinks for April. I think that's cute. That happens. I love his inventions, his attempts at inventions. My least favorite is Wrath because I don't know, he's just rude.
Anyone want to go into their least favorites then? Since Paige brought it up?
If I could mention my favorite turtle first.
Sure.
Oh yeah, that's right.
My favorite turtle is the 2003 Leo. He did get really serious at some point, and even for me, I was kind of like, calm yourself, Leo. But for the most part, I really appreciated that he had a really strong moral code. He's also such a hard worker, so much so that everyone he knows ends up benefiting one way or another because he's so devoted. So I really appreciated that, and that's something I kind of even aspire to be. So that's why Leo is my favorite turtle. Um, with the 2012 show, I don't necessarily have a favorite turtle. I kind of love them all equally. Some of the, like, I love their quirks, though sometimes their flaws kind of get on my nerves a little. And if since now we're also naming our least favorite turtle, I'd have to actually kind of have to go with Raph again. Not to be like a Raph hater, because I there are a lot of things about Raph that I appreciate, and I'm glad that that the creators have put into this Raph. But at the same time, he has become quite a more of a bully than anything else, and it's just getting in the way of his character development, and I'm just trying to figure out why he. I shouldn't say I'm trying to figure it out, but I'm kind of waiting for the moment when he actually just kind of does embrace his more sensitive side, because that would actually help the team a bit. It's sometimes
But
it just seems um, that he makes team morale even worse somehow just by even if he might mean well, he ends up just getting on just pointing out what everyone is bad at instead of maybe giving them a boost. I don't think that would be
yeah,
entirely out of character, but I don't know. It would just be nice for him to connect to that more sensitive side.
yeah. Donnie's particularly on his verbal abuse list.
Kind of weird how he kind of chooses victims. He goes from at the beginning of the show, it seemed to be Leo, and then at times it was Mikey, but now it seems to be more focused on Donnie. The attention kind of varies throughout the show.
Yeah, I mean, like I know in the 2003 series, Raph kind of like would occasionally pick on Donnie for being a nerd, but that's about it. Most of the time, they had a very congenial relationship.
Indeed.
Least favorite for you, Mark?
It's hard to tell. And the '80s show, I don't know. I really have a least favorite. I mean, they all complement each other well. They all have their things. I mean, I really can't say for the '80s version. The 2003 version probably Michelangelo because again, he was my favorite in the '80s one. So it was kind of a shame of how he became in the other version. I mean, everyone was kind of. Well, I mean, I understand Raphael. He changed, of course, because he was to be based more on his Mirage comics compared to the more sarcastic version from the '80s cartoon. But everyone else seemed kind of pretty much the same. It's a bit more serious. I just wish Mikey kind of stayed the same, just not annoying and bothersome and just bratty, basically bratty. And 2012 cartoon, I don't know, I kind of like everybody the same. You know, even Raphael, he kind of gets away with it because I think one thing I didn't like about Raphael with the 2003 cartoon is that yes, he was, I don't know, he was like just too cranky, too bitter, like just because, you know. At least here in 2012, Raphael's more vocal about exactly what is pissing him off. He's upset because doesn't trust Karai, or he's upset because Mikey's bugging him. But he's not just like default angry just because. And he picks on everyone equally, not just on Mikey as he does in the 2003 version. So it's I don't know, it's a bit more subdued. It seems everyone has a secondary character trait in the new version, compared to just being one thing. Because Leo was like the leader, and that's it. That's all his character's leader. Here they make him sillier with the Captain Ryan stuff. And Don was the smart guy. That's it. Now he has a crush on April and kind of expands his character. And Raph now, you know, has a pet turtle, and he, I don't know, he's like, I guess he's kind of like the straight man compared to everybody else sometimes. So, I mean, everyone has something that makes them different. And I don't really have much of a least favorite turtle for the either '80s or the 2012 one. But the 2003 one, probably Michelangelo, and I guess Raphael a little bit.
I guess my least favorite would, sorry Mark, but my least favorite would probably be Michelangelo. I'm an introverted person, so people who are extroverted, like his character is, can be very exhausting to me sometimes. But that doesn't mean that I hated his character. I just found him a little exhausting at moments. And yes, I did find a little of the pop cultural references, like the way he started saying Zoinks, or started sounding like Scooby Doo randomly in the 2003 series. Just sounded weird and annoying. For the 2012 series, it's like sometimes Leo can fall into the least favorite category because he doesn't trust himself. He follows the instincts of someone who is clearly not proper role model. The others still follow him regardless, even though they just wish he'd follow his own instincts. And I think that may actually cause problems in the team later on. So we're going to go take a commercial break right now, and we'll be right back in a moment.